Well, hello and welcome. Welcome to Leaders in Light, Love, and Legacy. This is Joy's radio show, and we're airing every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Zen Radio /Fave, F-A-V-E, Unite Radio. I am Joy Ruffin. I am a leadership and signature style specialist. And, you might laugh and chuckle as I do with this, but I love this. Your minister of enlightenment, awareness, and awakenings. Oh, my friends, because we're in a period of big awakenings now, especially for us women. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern on Zen Radio /Fave Unite Radio, driving and diving into honest conversations about power. Ooh, we love that word. Presence and purpose. I'll be sitting in and talking with our featured guest speakers each week who will bring you fresh insights on the divine masculine, and the feminine, and all that it entails, because we all carry both genders, both within us, no matter who we are. So it's about alignment. It's about leadership, and it's about building a legacy that's true to you and you only. So whether you're listening for inspiration, direction, or just a new perspective, it's all meant to stir something in you. Remember, there's always more waiting. Ooh, I love that word, waiting for you at joyruffin.com. Woohoo! Now, my League of Eagles, I've given you a name, Eagles. My League of Eagles. Get comfortable, sit back, whatever that means to you. And if you're driving, drive safe. Let's get into today's conversation. My featured guest speaker today, her name is Judy Kane. So nice and easy. I have a hard time, my friends, with names. But Judy, J-U-D-Y, and Kane, K-A-N-E, is easy. Let me give you a little brief bio about her, because I know you want to meet her, and so do I, and have a chat with her, a conversation. Judy Kane is the author of the number 4 Truth. How Beliefs Impact Your Life. She is a transformative coach dedicated to helping individuals get past barriers that are keeping them stuck. That's a big word in our time frame now, isn't it? Or causing them discomfort. She helps people change limiting subconscious beliefs that are holding them back. Oh my goodness gracious. Through speaking engagements, workshops, and individual client work, Judy empowers, love that word, empowers others to achieve their goals. So my friends, all you have to do is just sit back and take in all the wisdom and love that Judy is going to be sharing with us. Judy, welcome to Leaders in Light, Love, and Legacy.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here because you know, not knowing as much as we are going to get to know each other, that I love the work that you're doing, because the work that I'm doing is somewhat different, but it's all aligned, because you're talking about transformation. You're talking about limiting beliefs, gone, and getting stuck. So tell us, how did you come to do, people like the backstory, Judy. They want to know, how did you come to do this work that you're doing now? What brought you to it?
Well, in 2009, I was married, and my husband had a lot of friends that knew a lot of alternative types of processes. And I was in IT management, had been for decades. That was my main career. But he had this ache, and he asked a friend, or a friend offered to help him get rid of it. And he accepted the offer, and I was watching. And a lot of times when his friends would help, I would be interested. I was open. I didn't really understand what was going on, and it seemed a little mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
But this time, with this particular protocol that was being used, it was something where the person wasn't interpreting messages. They weren't physically moving energy like in Reiki or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the pain was gone in less than 5 minutes, and it didn't come back.
Ooh.
So I was impressed that it was that effective, that it was that fast, and very engaged in finding out more about it, because it looked like something I could learn to do myself. I would not have trusted myself to interpret messages or know where the energy was to try to move it. But this was very straightforward, and it appealed to my IT brain.
Wow. Judy, I love this because you've given us so many tools here. You said the ache, the pain, it was impressive. And today, you know, we're living in the Insta society. Everybody wants everything right away. What was it that, and I also received that you were an IT manager, so you had that structural kind of brain way of thinking and taking things in. What can you share with us that it was that made you want to do this, and then felt and sensed and received the speed of the quickness of it?
Well, I mean, I could see it was something I could learn, because it was a very straightforward process.
Straightforward, yes.
Very straightforward. The fact that you can use it with so many things, the potential of it was what really grabbed my attention. That and the effectiveness of it. And so I could see how, I mean, you don't use it just for physical symptoms of stress. You can use it for any belief that's getting in your way. And that was what was so powerful about it. And so I started researching, you know, where to go to learn to do this myself.
Well, Judy, I have a question for you, because I know if I have one, zillions of others have it too. And I know you maybe, always maybe, what was this technique? I mean, we're going to be talking about how you get rid of subconscious beliefs and where do they come from. But what is the technique that you saw, witnessed, took part in, and felt the relief? What was it?
Right. It's called Psych-K. It starts out like psychology. PSYCH-K.
Spell that again. C-Y.
P-S.
Oh, P. Uh-huh.
Yeah, like psychology. PSYCH.
Oh, got it. Okay. Uh-huh.
-K.
Okay.
It's been
Never
around.
heard that. My sister was a psychologist, so I had a lot of conversations with a lot of people who were in that circle, arena, whatever. But what is Psych-K? Tell us a little bit, whatever you share with us about that.
All right. So it's been around since the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It's used all over the world. It is a way of communicating with the subconscious using muscle testing. And I don't know if your audience is all familiar with muscle testing, but if you were in a room with me, and if I asked you to hold your arm up, and if you were willing, your arm would go up. Your brain would send a signal to your arm would go up.
Right.
And then if I press lightly on your arm, it would stay up as long as you were, just willing to have your arm up. But if I asked you to think about something that was something you didn't like, or to say something that wasn't true, there's a blip in the signal to the arm. So it does a little dip if you push on it. And so some chiropractors use this to figure out where to manipulate bodies. Mm-hmm. Some nutritionists use it to figure out what supplements the body needs. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In Psych-K, we use it to figure out what is in the subconscious.
And do you use it mainly, Judy, on the arm? Because I've had this test. I think it was on my thigh or my leg, and I recall. So it can be used in different parts of the body?
It can be used with different muscles. But in Psych-K, I don't see any clients in person. We do the muscle testing for the client online. Unless they're in the room with you, we do the muscle testing for them. And we might not be using our arm, but it works. You figure out which way is reliable, and that's the muscle you use to test with.
You know what you said, because Judy, we are in the new age. I'm a happy senior, and I love this new technology. some of it. A lot of it's like anything else. But most all of us, no matter what we're doing, we're working online. Now, this is something that I would think you couldn't do online, but you just pushed a button up here that says, wow, you can do this work that you're doing with people online. Oh.
Absolutely. It's the only way I see people now. Over half of my clients were online before the pandemic. So it didn't even take a pivot. It just took let's not rent an office anymore.
Well, I tell you, I love learning. I'll be this way when I'm 103. So then you've given us a good seed about what this is about. And I think the key for me, and most of us are so much alike, we don't even realize it, the muscle test, how you define it by the muscle test, however you do that. So what and where is that? You gave us how you came to doing this, and then you're doing most of your work online. What are you finding? One of the seeds that I wanted to ask you is, where do the subconscious beliefs that most of us have? This is a loaded question, Judy. At least I think it is. You'll light me up. Where do those subconscious beliefs come from?
Yes. So it's the subconscious is fascinating, right? You get most of your subconscious beliefs by the time you're 7. And we get them from the environment we land in, right? It's our immediate family. It might be institutions. And so as little kids, we're little sponges. We're just absorbing all the rules of wherever we landed. But they're really important. They control about 95% of our behavior because they are how we interpret events, people's behaviors, our self-worth. It's the filter through which we decide what our world really looks like.
Wow.
So when you say perception is reality, that is exactly what's going on. Your perceptions are your reality. And those are 95% formed by your subconscious beliefs.
You know, Judy, to me, I'm a perennial ongoing student as well. And when you use the verbiage that you use to explain to us what this is all about, it resonated with me because you said it's the subconscious, and it's fascinating. And by the age of 7, what we take in and we're sponges. And this is what I think you and I and many of us as eagles, my League of Eagles, what we're here to, a lot of the old and the new, we can discard both, but the foundational basis stuff, kids are sponges, and what they see, feel, and hear, we have to be sure that they're getting the right MO, whatever. Because if they don't, there's a lot of behavior patterns that we have to correct down the road. I've had mine. I don't know if you've had yours, but I've been.
Yeah, the list never ends.
There you go. In this process of becoming, I say, and my friend says to me, well, you're not coming. You've always been there. Yes, but we forget. I love this work. But when you say we're sponges and 90% of our behavior, how are you helping and getting people back to the subconscious beliefs to understand, working online, how this happened and what it is, and how do you get them to awaken? Woohoo! I love that word. To what's happening with them.
So people come to me if they've got something that's not working out for them, right? They want something to be different.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about what's going on and what would they rather be experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times people don't know what they'd rather be experiencing. They make their decisions based on what they want to avoid.
Ooh, that's pretty loaded, Judy. Whoa, say that again. I think that's beyond loaded and powerful because I know, I feel, I see, and I know things. And what you just said is powerful. Say that again, because I think we all need to hear it.
All right. A lot of times people don't know what they want. They know what they want to avoid. That's how they make decisions.
Yes. So true. So true. And how do you get them to knowing with heart and soul connected what they truly want?
Well, I ask them questions because I certainly don't provide that information for them, right?
No, you can't.
I can't. Mm-hmm. Everything, each person has something different that's meaningful to them and different reasons why that might be a challenge for them, right? Mm-hmm. So it's very individual work. But
Absolutely.
for instance, if you have somebody who wants their business to be more profitable,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it could be that they have a fear of success. It could be that it would cost too much, that they've got a belief that if you have a successful business, you need to work 24/7. And that's something you get from observing, right? You
Mm-hmm.
see somebody who says, well, I've got to work hard for the money. If that's
Yes.
where you grew up, the only way you're going to get money is working hard, right? And so
Uh-huh.
your subconscious can try to protect you from that life of working hard. And so you don't get the money, right? It's like you don't want the successful business because of that. Sometimes you can have a fear of being visible or heard because maybe in your home it wasn't safe, either physically or emotionally, where it was best to be very quiet and in the corner somewhere. Um, that's going to make it real challenging to come out and be your full self later, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So there are beliefs that you can change about that. Money's a big one because it's a measure of success. It's what we all need to some extent to survive. And yet, if you grew up thinking it was the root of all evil, or once again, that you have to work really, really hard for it, or that you shouldn't have more than you need because it's greedy, or you don't want to be like those people because we
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
like how they act and we don't want to be like them. So, there are all sorts of things you can pick up in your home that set up a conflict for having money, right?
Yeah. Judy, my love, I'm laughing and chuckling away because they say the louder and the more you laugh, the more it's indigenous and true to you. And I'm just chuckling away because everything that you said has been a part of my becoming. Because my poor mother, who had this thing about money and would watch every penny, and we never had enough. And because we're sponges and observation, you mentioned how we absorb everything that we see. It was never enough, and we had to be very careful. And so I had this very much embedded thing about money and success and power, and plus could be seen or heard. So all of these things, they're ringing home for me. And one of the things I know for sure, and I know that you know, is that we have to start with the honesty of knowing ourselves and what we've been embedded with, that we have to release. Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely is right. And money is a biggie, business more profitable, yet there's all this stuff that you're dealing with. Why do you think, and not think, why, because why has so many of us been brought up with this mindset that money, you want to be successful and money is the root of all evil or the end of being of all things? What is that dichotomy that we have?
Yeah, that's a great question. But our parents didn't invent it. They got it from their parents and their
Exactly.
so, where did this start? I could not tell you, but usually it's a generational thing.
It is generational. And now they have the saying out here, and I know you've heard it, Judy. I hear it seems to be all the time now, maybe because of the cycle that I'm in, that this generational curse, whatever it might be, it's time for many of us who are acknowledging it and aware of it to release it, to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can understand. How do you think that the subconscious beliefs that many of us come to, you've already spoke to how they are a part of the individual. And you also mentioned that word individual, because individualization of us now as species, that's coming to the fore. That's why I label myself Minister of Awareness, Enlightenment, and Awakenings, because it's time to awake. But why is it that the importance of knowing who you are is so major, you feel, now in this cycle of life that we're in, no matter what generation stage you're at?
Interesting. Well, for one thing, a lot of what I do is to help people be less stressed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's good for them and it's good for everybody around them. And there's a ripple effect.
Absolutely.
And the less stress that's out there, I think the better off we'll be. And that, sometimes the stress is caused by fear, and fear
Biggie.
help people don't make good decisions when they're living in fear. It's a different part of the brain. So, if we can reduce the fear, I think that's also really good for everybody. But if what happens is if you're trying to be somebody that you're not.
Ooh, that's a biggie.
Because you think you won't be liked or you won't be successful or, something bad will happen if you are not who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, there you go again, avoiding things, right? But, you got to be your authentic self to have less stress. You got to accept yourself for who you are. You got to be comfortable knowing that there are people out there that are going to accept you that way. Mm-hmm. And those are the ones you should be hanging with, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so we're individuals and each of us is totally unique. And we, the closer we can get to being authentic to that unique person, I think the happier and less stressed people, tend to be.
I know that you're spot on about that. And we talk about the individual and being authentic. And authentic was the buzzword. I got tired of hearing it in 2023, but now it's really relevant because it means that you have to be honest with yourself. But here's my question, because we're in this casual mode in every arena of our lives, the fashion and style, the communications, the entertainment, which includes communication, educational is under it. Everybody's kind of loose and wanting to be free and have that freedom. But I think personally, and no judgment, but we've gone too far over to the dark side. So I know the muscle test and the Psych-K and all of that, but what else can we do, you and I and all of us out here who are about being the light workers and whatever label you want to give yourself? What can we do to get people to wake up to what those limiting beliefs are and get help and support with them? I mean, that's what you're doing. So how do people come to you? How do we get people to understand that we're not looking for perfect? None of us are perfect, and we didn't come here to be perfect. But we are looking to excel in what we do, and we can't do that if we're not honest with ourselves. Where do we begin?
Well, first of all, I mean, people don't come to me unless there's something they want to be different.
Ooh.
So that's, if you're happy with the way things are, I wouldn't say book a call. But if there's something that, people are either unhappy about, frustrated with, overwhelmed by, that's where people start trying to figure out why, right? Mm-hmm. Why isn't this feeling right to me? Mm-hmm. And if it's something that's part of a pattern, if it's, you have the same relationship over and over again, and mm-hmm. you don't know why, yes. Or you're doing, mm-hmm. or you're doing all the right things to make money and it's not happening, mm-hmm. or you find yourself just kind of repeating patterns of stress or dysfunction of some sort, I'm almost positive that means that there are some subconscious beliefs that are helping create that for you.
Absolutely. And you mentioned all the key buzzwords there, starting off with fear. I think, and along with that fear goes being afraid and hesitant about admitting some of the weaknesses that you feel or weaknesses that you have. But if you have them, they're generational and embedded for different reasons. And if you want to awake to the beauty and the strength within you, then it's time to come to you. But you also said something else. People don't come to you until they're ready. That reminds me of something else a beautiful soul said to me. Words don't teach, actions, right? What you're doing and how you're doing. So people begin to see and feel a combination of both, and then they'll seek guidance. At least that's my belief. Do you think there's any merit to that?
Absolutely. And in fact, I turn people away when somebody, there are a lot of people out there who really want one of their loved ones to have a better life. And they want them to come to me to help them change something. Well, if it's not something that person doesn't want to change, it's not going to work.
Oh my goodness.
So I don't see people unless it's the person themselves that are telling me they want something different.
Judy, you just hit a minefield there, and we are going deep into the rabbit hole here, because what you just said, you know what popped into my brilliant noodle as soon as you said it, and I do this for myself, to say this to myself. You remember the movie, I can't remember the name of it, it said, "You complete me," because nobody completes you.
Love Story, maybe, was it?
One of those stories, one of those movies, and that stuck in my craw, because I'm thinking even then, sounds good, it's the movies, but nobody completes you. They compliment you.
Yes.
They add, but they don't complete you. And what you just said, somebody sends you someone that they want to be better, but it doesn't work that way. So now what does that say about the people, though, who are, and we're doing this in love, we're not judging, but if I say to you, "Oh, Judy, I want you to meet my son and help him out because he's having issues," what does that say? I mean, really?
Well, as the son, it's kind of one place he could go with his conclusions is that he doesn't have the resources to change things for himself.
Mm-hmm.
That he's not accepted for the way he is. I mean, there's a lot of takeaway stuff there just for the son.
I know. I don't think it really matters who it is. I think it's a matter of you are invited to be, however you can be, something in you that permeates towards them that helps them to seek change, because you can't send them to have change made for them. I don't know how.
It does not work.
It doesn't work.
No.
But I know we spoke about fear. You spoke about fear, being afraid, and maybe anger and frustration, and maybe that shy, withdrawing type individual. But only when they're ready will they come to you seeking guidance. But what is the number one quality thus far in the years of the work that you've been doing that you find most people come to you with? I mean, if you have to, I know it's vastly different for each and every one. But if you're talking about stress and fear and being afraid of this and being authentic, what if you line it up, whatever those things might be, what are the top 3 things that people come to you because they really need your guidance?
Well, and the categories that I see most often are the fear itself, safety, and it can be in also, it can show up in so many different aspects. But if you're talking about just big categories, it's either a safety thing or a self-worth thing.
Ooh.
I mean, there's some other, obviously that's not everything, but the main categories fall into one of those.
I think you hit it, because I'm surmising here as I'm listening and sharing and listening and joining in with you. I know from the work that I do, which is leadership and signature style work, that so many, especially us women, because of however it came to us, the fear of being honest and with ourselves about how we feel about ourselves, our femininity, that's been warped in so many ways.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that self-worth thing, what are some of the key C's and the guidance that you give for people contingent upon what it might be? For me, self-worth was, go.
Well, some ways that they might recognize this, if that's what's going on. Maybe some of the primary emotions instead of fear and unease could be guilt or shame or indecision, right?
Yes.
But you can see it where people aren't able to either set or maintain boundaries.
Ooh, that's a
or
biggie.
their priorities aren't, somebody else comes to them with they've got their whole list of things they're going to do in order of what they think is important. Somebody else comes along and asks them to do something, and it goes to the top of the list, right?
Yeah.
So that's like, well, I'm not as important as they are. That's what it says.
That's a biggie. That's a biggie. And you gave the 3 or 4 major ones: guilt and shame, being indecisive, boundaries. And I added in control. There are people who have to be in control and be right about everything.
Yeah.
I've met a few of those.
Absolutely.
Because of my evolving and growing. And we don't have to be right. We can be right for ourselves, but not for everyone. So that's the biggie, right?
It is. Yeah.
And you got to be open to that. But when it comes to boundaries, that's a big one. They all are. But what are some of the boundaries? Because that's very powerful.
Well, the priority seeking in there is one, of being able to tell people I'm not available for that.
Yes, that's a big one.
No. For us to work together, these are things that we have to agree on and respect, right? I mean, there are ways of making people understand what's going to work best in relationship with you, right? And it has to be mutual. You need to understand their boundaries as well.
Oh, yes. But
you need to know that it's okay to have them. Some people don't think that's okay, right? They're so their self-worth is so low that they don't think that they even deserve to have the boundaries.
Yes, indeed. And you know what? I don't know how, but when you're sharing that with us, Judy, I'm thinking about for us women especially, and I'm sure it's the same somewhat for men. I don't know the percentages and all of that. I don't go there, but shame for women. That's a big one. And how does that shame play in for many of the women that you've worked with thus far? Because I can give some things that I think, but I want to hear from you. Shame, I found with my limited knowing and seeing and feeling, it's a big one.
It is, because, we're taught frequently as women, and maybe this varies by, generation, but most women I know were not encouraged to speak up for themselves.
Exactly.
They weren't encouraged to be able to say what they're good at. They weren't encouraged to accept compliments. People give you a compliment and it's like this old thing. I've had it 20 years and I got it out of a garbage dump when I got, it's like they can't say, thank you, I like it too. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or somebody does a really cool thing and somebody says, that was really good. And you say, oh, it was the team, or it was luck, or it was like, well, that too maybe, but also if you were part of it, you were part of the reason it worked, right? I mean, there's so many things you can see there. The over returning of favors. Right? I borrow a cup of flour from you today, and tomorrow I'm on your doorstep at 6 with a bag of flour and a cake. Right? I mean, it's like you see examples of it everywhere. But I think the women are encouraged to. I'm not saying you shouldn't be nurturing, but it's like, our only role isn't to take care of everybody else. And I think a lot of us were brought up to feel like it is.
Judy, you're giving us the jewels here. You're giving us the gold. And I'm laughing away in love because I've seen, witnessed, been a part of, experienced all of the things that you mentioned there, And the girls and boys, like girls don't speak up and girls don't do that. And the compliments, this whole thing, I love that one. And then it's just luck that you did that. All of the things that you gave us, over returning the favors, all of this isn't, but you mentioned a word there that I beg to differ with you, and I don't have to be right. You know that. Generational. I used to think that because I'm a happy senior that it was generational, but I worked and volunteered before the pandemic with a lot of the young juvenile delinquents and different school systems. And I'm telling you, it's not generational. It's still going on. In fact, much of it is more embedded today in young girls using other aspects of their wholeness rather than their body, brain, and the beauty, the wholeness of them. So it is generation. It has changed because of technology, but it's still prevalent, that shame thing. And it shows up in so many different ways. At least that's been my experience. But could you speak to that a wee bit, or am I way off?
No, I don't disagree with you about that at all. I was thinking more in terms of roles.
Yes.
Back when I was little, it was unusual for women to have jobs outside of the home.
Absolutely. Got it. Mm-hmm.
So there was that role assignment of, the woman does these things.
Yes. And
not those, right? And the man does these things and not those. And so it was very, I think I have seen people that are women who are entrepreneurs or in corporate as well, where they've got some conflicting beliefs because their subconscious thinks they should be home taking care of the kids and making cookies.
Yeah, that guilt feeling again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Judy, along with that, while you were sharing with us, and thank you for that, I appreciate it. I don't have to be right. I'm, as a repetitive and an ongoing student of life. But I also see what you just spoke to, a lot of the extremes, especially for my generation, when Gloria Steinem, whoever remembers her, I think most everyone, started the women's movement. I think far too many women went far over to the extreme to be in power and positions of power like men. That's not our role. That's why I'm so about the divine, masculine and feminine within each and every one of us. And to get that balance, which you spoke to a little bit earlier, finding that balance. And that means erasing as much as we can all of this stuff, I call it stuff, that we come with. I think your title, Mindset Change Specialist, is so fitting. How did you come up with that title? Because it fits.
Well, I don't like the word coach because I don't do behavior, strategy, tools, accountability. Coaches do that, right? And they're very effective and they're needed to know what's a better way to do something when you're trying to get a goal accomplished, right? And to notice patterns that you've got. I mean, there's so much value to coaches. I don't do that. And so I was, and usually it's the only choice that fits when there's a drop down menu. So I tried to think of a word that didn't have coach in it. It's basically.
Well, great minds think alike. So we can both put on our tiara, because I got tired of coach and even somewhat consultant, and I use specialist too, because that's in a way what you are, because you're unique to what you're doing. I don't care if a zillion other people are doing it. It's your specialty, your style, your individual way, and so on and so forth. So I get it. And that's another reason, Judy, and I smile from ear to ear, nose to nose, eye to eye, whatever, each and every time I say it. This radio show here on this fabulous platform, Fave Unite FM radio, is for me and for you, Eagles. And I call it a league of Eagles, because front runners and trailblazers and pioneers who are making change, even though they might not be aware of it, and leaving a legacy, because that's what we're all here to do in one fashion or another. And a legacy is a word, like so many others, that's so overused. How shall I say this now? The time goes here, and it went pretty quickly, but we have a few more minutes. What do you feel at this point in time with the work that you're doing that you really want to have more people become aware of and utilize via and through you, or with anyone?
So half of my business is devoted to helping individuals change whatever it is they want to change. The other half is doing just what I'm doing right here, is helping people understand why things might not be going the way they would like in their lives, right? A lot of times people think, well, this is just the way it is. Or I'm not working hard enough, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not whatever enough. And they blame themselves and don't think there's any way of making it different. And I want people to understand that sometimes it's really difficult to make that change if you've got subconscious beliefs that are in your way. And no, you don't have to just accept it. You can do something to change these things so that your life is more what you want it to be.
Absolutely. I think that's brilliant. Judy, I tell you, the time goes here, and we're going to be putting out posters, and I'll be sending them to you when this is posted and it's broadcast on this fabulous site that we're going to be on. But where do people find you? I'm sure you have, and it'll be there. But for now, when they listen to you, they go to your website, an email. We'll be putting that on your poster, and you'll be getting the information that you can send it out. But do you have a website that you can say to them? Is it easy, or tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I do have a website. It's called Aligned Consciousness, ALIGNED. CONSCIOUSNESS.com. And there are multiple pages there. One of the pages is from a book, and another one has resources, which tells people that people can download more free information about it, about subconscious beliefs and how they can show up. And so that's pretty useful.
And in conjunction with that, one of the sites that I love and that you're on as well is LinkedIn. I want them to go and connect with you there.
Yeah, Judy Kane. Yeah, I'm Judy Kane there. And I've got an Aligned Consciousness Facebook page that is there. I don't spend as much time on Facebook, but either place I'm aware of and know when people have commented or asked questions.
Great. Let me ask you, you said something that triggered for me. You said you don't spend, which social media platform do you spend most time on?
LinkedIn.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn, you said I thought I heard you say you don't spend much time there, but you do check in from time to time with LinkedIn because that's where.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn a lot more frequently. If I post, that's where I tend to be posting things.
Me too.
Yeah, but I do have a business page on Facebook that is, I wouldn't call it active, but it's not dead.
Well, you know what? I think we all started, no matter what generation you're in, with Facebook, but most of us who are business and professional people and pioneers in our fashion style, whatever that might be, we're leading more into LinkedIn. And that's where I'm going because of a wonderful mentor that I'm working with now. So that's where I met you or connected with you through another network convention. I tell you, Judy, I think the work that you're doing, the mindset change specialist that you are, and all the things that you shared with us today, I think the word powerful is overused, but it fits and it's so needed because we are truly in a throng of change. The times are awakening to the individual, being true to who you really are. So your work is so timely and I celebrate and applaud you for it. And once again, any parting words, you gave us some jewels before, but anything you want to say before I close out the show, feel free, whatever you choose to say now.
Yeah. The first thing I can advise people to do is just get clear on what you really want.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's profound, precise, concise, and clear. And that's what we all have to do. And all these years on the planet, I'm just getting there, so I can understand that. Judy, thank you. Don't go anywhere. Stay here for a second and let me close out the show. And in the meantime, I cannot thank you enough because you've given us a lot of jewels, a lot of gems here that we'll all be utilizing and hopefully tuning in to get more and more of it. Thank you for tuning in to Leaders in Light, Love, and Legacy. I am Joy Ruffin, your Minister of Enlightenment, Awareness, and Awakenings. We spoke to that earlier, didn't we? I love that title. If something in today's conversation struck a chord, let's keep the conversation and the connection going. Visit joyruffin.com to learn more about the work that I'm doing and the offerings that I share and the messages we're spreading together. Judy Kane and I, because every featured guest that I bring to you will be sharing their wisdom and their love. I love combining the two of them because there is no wisdom without love. You can also reach me directly at my cell number, which I'm giving out. I don't have shame or fear here. It's 772-240-9810. And yes, that line leads directly to me. And visit me. If today's conversation sparks something in you, are you ready to go deeper? Visit with Judy Kane and connect with me at joyruffin.com. You'll find a space to connect, to explore, and to tap into free resources that change and grow as we do on my website. And I'm sure Judy has offerings for you as well on hers. Whether it's style, leadership, or living your truth, there's always something new waiting right here just for you. So my Eagles, until the next time, I love calling you my League of Eagles. Stay present, stay bold, and keep soaring higher and higher and higher. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be right here waiting for you on Zen Radio /Fade, F-A-V-E, Unite Radio, FM. Sending you much, much love from my heart to yours. All the best. Take care. Cheers.